right, so welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here and holding back until 5:10 for 10 minutes with us today. So we want to talk about the whole topic on being young and how can you lead business when you are young. So in the room today we have a couple of amazing women entrepreneurs with us. So let me do a quick introduction of all of them, and then we can get started with our hot discussion about young and bold, how to lead and succeed a business even when you are young. All right, so first up, we have Mai Vu. She is a podcast host, motivational speaker, and founder of Empowered Muse. She helps ambitious women tap onto their potential, using their feminine power to start living life by design. Her mission is to empower the current and the next generation in owning their big dreams and manifest it from a place of feminine. Hi, Mai. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Huda, for such introductions, and hello, a lot of ladies who are in the rooms as well. I'm so happy to be here and to share and to talk.
Great. So now we're going to introduce the next speaker, which is Sophia. Sophia Jamil is an academic activist turned entrepreneur. Interesting path. She began her professional career as a political analyst in the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies in NTU, Singapore. Midway through her PhD at the Australian National University, Sophia co-founded Hornbill's Concepts and Communication, a PR and research consultancy firm. Sophia's current project is a podcast called Breaking Silos that speaks to the core of what she does and believes in. That is breaking cultural, class, and sectoral silos. That is, to me, very interesting and a whole other level, Sophia. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Huda, for having me.
And finally, we have Temi. Temi is a photographer and she has a photo studio based in Indonesia. She also runs a coffee business and she has this amazing portfolio of work. When I first met Temi, it was because she was innovative during the lockdown and she started shooting photos virtually during quarantine, and what she called it quarantine portraits. So Temi, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So every single one of these women here today, they started their business young and they also started their journey young. And here we are telling you and inspiring you that you don't have to be experienced in order for you to, jumpstart and begin your career in the world of entrepreneurship. You can always just get started because you believe in something and you are passionate about what you do. So with that, I would like to begin this conversation, and let's start off first by asking, what was it like when you were beginning your business, and also share with us how young you were. So let's start off first by Mai answering this question.
Okay, thank you so much for letting me answer first. Um, I was having a really big breakdown when I was about 26. And at that time, I started to learn more about coachings and understanding, first of all, men and then relationships and energies. And I was so fascinated by it. And at that time, I was like, oh, I wish I could have become a coach or that sort of influencer or speaker so that I can influence the current generation of my age. That you don't have to get married so that you can find a purposeful life, and you can find a purposeful life first, and then the happy marriage and the career can come after. But I think I was just like a lot of young women at that time. I felt like I was not good enough. I wasn't having enough resources, money, time, and all of not good enough things. And I didn't start until 5 years. Not 4 years afterwards. So I started when I was about 29, when I gave birth to my baby. And I promised myself that when I gave birth to my baby, I am also giving birth again to myself. And my business is the same age as my baby. So it's about 2 years right now, and she's 2.5-year old. So I feel like I feel like I would just have this message for a lot of women out there, and especially if you are young, age is never a definition of how wise or how good are you. It's just how bold, how much willing are you going to dare to dream and claim your desire and really see how much gifts you have inside of you, and you can start wherever you are at whatever age. I started when I was like giving birth for 6 months, and I was like nearly a really like a mother who was having like newborn baby, and that was I think that was the least situation where a woman would start a career, and especially a career change. But I did, and I feel like that was the best moments of my entire 20 something years. So wherever you are, this moment is the best moment to start now.
Yay, that's very lovely. You know, when you were saying that you made a promise to give after you given birth to your child that you want to give birth to a business, honestly, truth to God, I had goosebumps all over my body. Felt like
Yeah, that
that.
was the truth.
Yeah, that's amazing because you've got to give life to yourself also, and like what you do, empowering women to find their own purpose and designing their own life. I think that's amazing. All right, so the next person that I want to hear from about your journey in business, how you got started, and how young you were. Let's hear from Temi.
So actually, my background is in architecture. That's what I took in school, but I've always had a passion for photography. So I would always dabble in it, not fully diving into it because I didn't really see like maybe like the career prospect. Like I was always very doubtful, like, oh, am I able to pursue this as a career? Like what is the future for me if I take this path kind of, So I was always kind of on the fence. Um, so after graduating from college, I'm currently 27. So graduating, I was 23. Yeah. So came back to, I'm like, wow, when was
That's
it?
long.
Yeah. So after college, I took, I worked in a photo studio. So I've been working with other people, trying to get kind of the work experience because I don't have any technical knowledge at all in photography, and the industry, I'm not familiar with it at all. It's just kind of like a passion of mine. So I worked with other people prior to school, and then after moving back to Jakarta, which is where I'm located now, I worked at a firm that deals with real estate. So nothing at all to do in the creative industry, which is what I've always been very passionate about. So for the 2 years that I was working in corporate, my dilemma was always trying to make the leap from working for someone and working for myself, which I always felt like the pull. I always wanted to kind of do my own thing, start my own photography business or whatever else. And then I just never had the courage to do it until uh 20. So I worked in the real estate firm for 2 years, so until I was 25, and then I finally quit 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, and then started my studio very recently. So it's been running about maybe 4 months. So it's actually in the middle of the pandemic. I've been working as a freelancer, and then I was doing virtual shoot for a bit last year just to compensate for the lack of being able to go out and shoot in a live situation. But then somehow in the middle of all of that, I managed to start my offline studio. So now I'm able to take clients into my own studio, which is a more controlled space. And that's where I am now at 27, 4 months into a studio.
Yay, amazing. Yes, I've been following Tammy's progress throughout the time where we first got to know each other. I've always thought that, it takes a lot of courage to be able to rent a space, own a space, and run it to run your business. I've always found that it takes a lot of courage. So I definitely applaud you for taking this first move. Congratulations on doing that. All right, so now let's hear from Sophia on her journey running a business or even establishing the business. And how young were you when you first started that business?
Yeah, well, like you mentioned in the introduction, I started out as a political analyst in a university. That's like a, stable job, cushy job. I love my job. I was doing research on sustainable development issues, climate change, human development. All these are very current issues and will still be talked about, right? But at some point, I felt like there's still something missing. The people I was engaging with were not business people at all. They were academics, they were politicians, they were military officers. So it was totally not a business environment. But what made me change was, I left to do my PhD in Australia to do a topic on religious environmentalism, specifically Islamic environmentalism in Indonesia. So I did my fieldwork in Indonesia. So I was going to the rural areas, going to the pesantren, the Islamic boarding schools, and the different communities to talk about these issues and do some research. But as I went through the rural areas and you see the difficulties, the challenges they face in terms of just getting water, basic things. So that just really triggered me to think like, wait a minute, why am I just writing about it? Have people say, oh, that's a fantastic piece of, research, but they just end up still suffering, right? So at the end of my research, of my fieldwork, I thought, something's not right here. I think something has to be done. And, so it was like I needed a career change. Or rather, I was um, led by this feeling that something's missing, something needs to be done, a bigger purpose needs to be filled. So when I happened to go back to Singapore, had coffee with a former colleague as well, and we just started talking, and we realized that, hey, let's set up this company. I've got the political research skills. She's got the comm skills. We work well together. So that's how we started it. And also driven by our passion to help people in the region. We felt that people in ASEAN needed more support in terms of soft skills and all that sort of thing. But it is, of course, starting out, it's not easy, right? But that I think much of our work has been driven by that, and we try to find the opportunities to bring together different stakeholders, different people, to kind of bring together certain packages or programs that would help people in that regard. So yeah, I was 31, 30. So
Yeah.
yeah, young at heart.
Yes. It's okay. The UN's definition is of youth is until you turn 35. So you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good news, we are live on Instagram. So the people on Instagram are able to watch us now, and which is so amazing. So for those of you who are watching us live on Instagram, we have already done a set of introductions, and all the amazing women entrepreneurs who are here have introduced their journey and also shared with us about how it was like when they were beginning. Okay, so now let us move into the conversation about skills, resources, and assets. So I feel that what all of you have gone through, they are all an indication of purpose, passion, and you need all of this for you to drive your business forward, or even take the first step to do something. But aside of passion, what do you think would be a necessary skill, resource, or asset for you to begin your business? Anyone can answer.
I think if I were to be able to say that, I don't think we need any asset as in terms of material or money wise kind of assets, just like how you think. The way that I started my business was I have a set of knowledge, and I know people are in pains for that kind of change, and I just get out there and have my service mindset. So I focus a lot around mindset, and this is where I can tell you and guarantee you mindset is something that you can develop, and it is very easy for you to develop. Started off with reading books, started to follow positive podcasts, or watching YouTube videos. You can already start shifting your mindset, and when you have a different set of mindset, you can already teach someone about it. So I always want to encourage, and I have a lot of young coaches under my arms, because I encourage them to see that you can only have to be half a step ahead of wherever you want to serve, whatever it is, a physical products, or it is just like you are selling something from, like you buy something and then sell back to someone, or you have a service products. You can only you only need to have a step ahead of them wherever they are. That if you are like a photographer, for example, they might be don't know how to take a beautiful portrait, and you do know, you can start offering that. Or if you are a videographer, they don't actually know how to make reels. It's like today I try to make reels. You can start offering that for women who, like me, doesn't know how to make a reel but needs someone to do it for herself. So you just need to find a set of problems and to solve that problem with your own gifts. And that gift can be a physical product or can be just a service product. That is where you already can start it. So no need money, material, time. Everything is then everything is ready for you to tap onto.
That is interesting insight. I've always thought that mindset is very important. It is something that is going to make the difference between someone who believes that you can do it and someone who only thinks that you cannot succeed because of every other thing that's happening in your life. So with that, like, what are your thoughts as well, Tammy, as well as Sophia? Like, what do you think about skills, asset, and resources?
Tammy, do you want to go first?
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay, so I think a willingness to learn is really important. Like you have, it's a totally new ball game, right? You don't know anything about business. You need to pick up just like that, and you can't always think you're right. And like on the contrary to on the reverse to what Mai said, like you if you think you don't have any knowledge and you just have a bit, yeah, more, that's good. But and that's even better than some of the people who are so knowledgeable but don't want to learn because they think they're right. And I've seen people who are very well educated yet still stuck in that silo and not being able to learn, not being able to really effectively engage and provide solutions to the rest of society. So that's one thing. And also building on what Mai said about what's your unique selling point, what makes you unique, and how can you make what makes you unique irresistible. You might think that, oh, I'm not good enough, or oh, I have a bad, you know I have a disadvantage, I have a flaw. But actually your flaws can get you fans. That's something I personally, for me, I thought, like, obviously I always felt like I was not typical in the Singapore settings, so like, and people wouldn't get what I'm doing or what I'm thinking sometimes. So to me it was like, why settle for just local when you have the whole global stage at your
Your
fingertips?
arms, yeah.
Yeah, so if the local scene sucks, go global. And I think that's where I was able to maximize on different things, different projects that I was doing, where I had more support from overseas initially, and then when you come back to the local scene, they say, "Oh wow, great, fantastic," and then you get the support from the local scene. So it's like, don't limit yourself to just your immediate environment, but there's so much more out there, and people want to hear you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's amazing, Sophia. Interestingly, what you have just said is exactly how I begin Fempreneur Secrets.
Yeah, right.
Not at all did I begin my journey thinking about just my local space. I thought bigger. I thought about the community at large. I also thought about how can I reach more people in the world. And just by doing that, I was able to, garner more attention in the US market, in the UK market. And I think it's really important, just like what you said, Sophia, that you don't have to restrict yourself to where you are. Yeah, so that's one thing that the viewers here can definitely gain value from. How about you, Tammy? Like, do you have any thoughts about this?
Yeah, so actually, I think for me, it's like a little bit of both what Maya was saying and also Sophia. It's at least from my own personal experience, I think the most important thing for me was initially courage, because I mean, I don't have any technical, like a, like a very formal education in photography. It's just something that I kind of picked up. And to be honest with you, it's a lot of trial and error along the way, having to kind of like fake it till you make it kind of mindset. Real, truly, it was a lot of that for me. I mean, at least to get, and I don't know, somehow I ended up here. And then also like being able to take that courage and making that decision and being very firm on like, okay, well, actually, I'm going to do this and I'm just going to focus on it. And then for me, that really worked. And then it helped me also to take more opportunities, like being braver to take more opportunities that I might have been more hesitant to take when I was in a mindset of like very like doubtful and like, very self, insecure about, oh, can I, or like, do I have the things that I need to be able to pursue this, for example. But also, I think for me, networking is very, very, very important. Even if I don't have the skill, having other people who are in the industry that can help me out, or having other people who are able to vouch for me, or learning from other people in the industry really, really helped me in the sense of like
Yeah, that's
advancing.
yeah. Sorry to cut you. Yeah, that was like completely true. And you know what's interesting about what you have just mentioned about trial and error? I'm pretty sure that all of us in this room have at least done that once in our business, maybe a million time in our
Yeah.
business, right?
Practice make
1
perfect.
million times.
Yeah. Sometimes
Every single
people,
thing.
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes
Yeah,
people
like
hear me speak and they say that how come it's also easy for her to speak things like that and be spiritual, like speaking message and getting things fluently. Like if you were to go back to watch my first live stream, I was mumbling. I was like, what do I say? Like what's next? I have to script everything. It was like I prepare for the whole morning to record like 20 minutes video, and that was so exhausting for me. But practice make perfect, and every single day I wanted to get better at speaking, so I just go on live stream even no one was watching me. It was so painful, like no one was watching me. In my mind it's like, oh, you're not good enough, no one likes it, you like your voice does not matter. But I really like learn how to see beyond it, and I give myself this courage, like whatever I'm doing, I'm putting $1,000 more in my future bank, so I'm good. Like if I have that chance, I'll do it every single day, every single time I have a chance. So I was just want to share that with you guys. Like, don't think that we just be here by luck. Actually, it's a lot of practice, and it's a lot of just like a baby who learn how to walk. You're gonna start learning to pick up how to take a first step and trying to balance, but you never quit until you actually walk.
I think.
yeah, definitely. And taking the first step is very important. Let's just have a look back into our journey. I think it's really quite interesting to see what was one of the like first steps, moments of first in your business that till today you will always remember. It'll be really nice to hear that.
For me,
Sophia,
definitely.
you sorry,
Oh
Tammy,
no,
go.
go ahead.
No, I was saying, do you want to go first, Sophia?
I'm trying to think. Okay, you think, right? Oh, I'm a co-founder of a company. I'm this, that. But hey, you start from the very bottom. I remember
Yeah.
when we had one of our workshops. I was sitting on the floor of my aunt's house with my business partner, doing arts and crafts, for the workshop. So it's like that little things, those basic. You have to know everything from the ground up. And I think that's another set of skills and resources that you learn even before you start going into the business or the professional world, even from school. Being able to be resourceful and like we have like those CCAs or extracurricular activities in school. Girl guides or prefects or whatever you have to. The extra things. Some people say, I don't want to do this. Oh, why should I be a prefect? That I don't. I just want to be like lay back in school. But actually, when you have these new responsibilities, you learn a lot of skills. You learn how to deal with people. How do you manage people? How do you have difficult conversations with people? And that's part of business, right? How do you be approachable, even though people are going to give you negative vibes? So I would say for the really young people who are just coming out of school or coming out of university or whatever, right? You do have skills, you do have resources, you have the opportunities already there as you're growing up. It's just that we don't realize it. And I think public speaking classes in school helped me in terms of talking now, for example. So we don't think about it when we were young, but when I'm thinking back, all those things was just a gradual um,
Adding
thing.
up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead,
What
Mai.
about? Oh no, I was waiting for Tammy. I'll go last.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I would agree with Sophia. I would probably just add on to that. I think a lot of it is just like an accumulation of the things you've learned. because for me, I was in corporate prior to this, which had nothing to do with what the industry and what I'm doing right now. So people might say like, oh, like all of those years, like, you know, my degree is in architecture. Like, do you, like, is it a waste? And then I would always say, you know, actually no, because a lot of the skills that I've learned from school and you know, a lot of the skills that I've learned from working in corporate has helped me to get here right now, you know, making business decisions and like interacting with other people, and maybe actually learning things that are outside of what you're doing now can help you be more innovative, like in your current industry. Like, I don't, maybe you could think of something else that someone who actually has professional um, education, or like, you know, the technical education, for example, in photography, may not have thought of if they had learned like cooking, for example. I don't know
Yep.
how. Yeah, so I think
Mm.
it's important not to limit yourself in the way that if you think like, oh, but my background is this, oh, but my experience is this. Yeah, I think limiting yourself is a disadvantage to what the things that you want to do. Yeah, so I would say everything adds up to like what you want to do eventually. So you shouldn't be discouraged by having different experiences. That has nothing to do with what you want to do.
Yeah. Mai, what are your thoughts on this?
I love all of those sharing. It's so true. And when I look back at my journey, I think since the first moment that where I started, even when I was an intern and then move ahead, one thing that I saw in that was really, really good, that actually brought me advantage when I start my business, is self responsibility and self leading. So even when I was an intern in like a PR agency, corporate firms, I never let anyone to like always chase me or like do things to like really manage me, because I manage my task, I give it deadlines, I have organized organizational skills, and I was always proud of that. And I never think at that moment that I would become an entrepreneur or like launching my own business. I was always thinking that, oh, having a corporate job is so much more civilized. I think Sophia would so agree with that mindset. And especially in Asia country, you need to have a job so that you get security in life. So I never realized that I can do a business until I started to be in a position where I no longer can spend 9 to 5 at a fixed job. I have to spend more time with my baby, be flexible around it. And that is where I realized that self-leading myself and organizing was really number one key. And time management was something that I learned as well. And in fact, Huda was always like praising that tips that I have given her in one of the course, because that was when I picked up, I think a lot of soft skill we picked up when we were in corporates was really helpful. So on the recent podcast, I have shared saying that people always look for a purpose career or like their own life purpose. But when you do every single small thing in a purposeful way, you would always be led to that path. So if you don't even see what's possible, to start doing every single thing in the most meaningful and purposeful way for you, you are going to be guaranteed to find that path.
Okay, amazing. I think all of you have just, shared this, and it made me realize that, yeah, I think when we all first begin, there are a lot of down moments, but, they were moments of inspiration for us. They are the moments that helps us to become where we are today. And without those moments, we won't be where we are today. So those of you who are watching right now, viewing right now, I feel that it's really important for you to remember that when you start a business, it is not going to be rainbows and butterflies overnight. It's going to take some time. It really is going to take some time. So if anybody can tell you that you can become a millionaire overnight, you can tell them to go out of the door and don't ever and lock it and really lock the door. They're not going to be part of your life anymore because those are just the nonsense that people tell you, and you have
Unless
raised and elevated your expectation for nothing, right? Like,
unless your
why would you
business
do
is
that?
robbing a bank. No.
Yes, probably.
I make, yeah, so that's
Or win a
Stockbrokers, maybe.
lottery.
Yeah, okay, I've got nothing against them. If they can make $1 million overnight, great for them. But for most businesses, it's almost not possible because you actually need to put in a little bit more effort here and there.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's the reality of it. So now it ties in nicely to the next question about when we are beginning. there are a couple of things that, at Fempreneur Secrets, we always emphasize about the importance of trying to become visible online. You've got to put yourself out there and let people know that, what you do or what you intend to do in the first place. What are your thoughts about becoming visible online today? Is it important, and how far should you go to present yourself? Anyone?
I should here. I think because my business is very visual, so it is very important, at least for me, to be visible online. That's how I get my clients. Although it's maybe 50-50 with word of mouth or, like clients' testimonies, but also a lot of it is social media based and digital. Like, people need to be able to see my work. I need to be out there. I've noticed that now if I'm posting consistently every day, even though it's just maybe it could just be like behind the scenes or like, oh, this is what the studio is looking like today. It doesn't have to be like very proper. If I post consistently, clients tend to increase, or like people are more curious as to what I'm doing, or like they'll tend to remember me and my business, as opposed to if I'm just like not posting at all for the week, even though I'm working. So I
Mhm.
um, it's very important in my industry, in the creative industry. I think it's important to really think about how you brand your business and also how you brand yourself, because I think with maybe mine and Sophia, it's more about like self branding, but for me it's like maybe more about like the how you present your business, but also how you present yourself, and like do you put that together, or do you separate that? Like those are the kind of things that I feel like you have to think about from the beginning before having a plan to go forward with how you want to present yourself on social media. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that it's very important.
Okay, great. I
I love
agree.
what
I think it
Tammy
depends
says.
on your industry, right? Like what industry that you are in, and what are kind of the things that you need for you to become visible. Maybe my or Sophia, you have your opinions on this?
I was just wanted to add on to Tammy because that actually remind me of one thing, that there are two type of branding that you can do online or like everywhere when your business. It's like a product branding or like a personal branding. So at the beginning, it was a decision for me to choose: do I wanted to go with like Empowered News brand, or do I wanted to go with My Vu as a personal brand? And I realized that I wanted to go with a personal brand, and that infused my characteristic, that infused my own way of living, and so far it has been working really well for me. But never worry about like if you wanted to go for generic if you have a fear of visibility, because like sometimes people don't want it to be that face of the business for some whatever reasons. There
Mhm.
is a lot of brand that doesn't have a face like image, but still are very successful, like Boss Babe or like Manifestation Babe. So like Gabby Bernstein is like a personal branding for Manifestation, but Manifestation Babe is also a branding very successful for Manifestation, but they have a two different path. Both of them are equally successful. You just need to find what are you comfortable with. And if you choose to be the face and the voice of your brand, then you have to first bust through your fear of visibility. I think I recorded a podcast with Huda on this topic. Fear of visibility, like people always fear that it is too much for me to share my pain and too much for me to be vulnerable in front of other people. And I just have one thing to advise you or like to share with you, that what is personal is universal. What is personal is universal. So your pain, your struggles, your breakthrough, your challenge, it is only yours to have. And somewhere, someone on this world also have the same experiences. You have no idea when I started this business until now, it's only 2 years. I almost every single day in my inbox, there will be someone messaging me saying, I'm going through exactly this, or I'm going through exactly this pain point, or I'm having exactly this dream. And I feel like myself becoming that 1 million version of who I am, but that got resonated with so much more people. So what is personal is so universal. Your own story is so relevant to the people that you want to serve. Like Tony Urban is great in my industry, but a lot of women come in and say that Tony Urban is so big, but I find you is like a girl next door that I can understand, that speak my language. like know my pain point and help me, like know I know that you can help me. So never feeling intimidated by other big brands, and don't feel like you never going to make it big, because what make you unique is your own personal story. The more you are able to share it, the more people got to resonate with you, the more you are able to speak up on that, the more you push away the wrong people who are going to judge you and like shame you and criticize you, and you're going to draw in the right people. And that is when you find this part is so meaningful when you start your own business. I'm sure a lot of people having agreements with this on this point. And if you do have struggles, you can go and search for like that podcast. I think Huda have it on her podcast, or like search more about field visibility and really work on that.
Amazing. Okay, Sophia, we want to hear from you too.
Yeah. So your question, is it important to be visible online?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because no one else is going to do it for you. And I think that's the different mindset between being an employee of a big organization and being your own boss. When you're part of a big organization, there's already the branding and the visibility there, and then and your chances of being on, picked to go on, do an interview or get your writing, at least for in my case, get your writing, in the newspaper. It was easy because there was already that mechanism that was working. When you're on your own, it's like you gotta do everything yourself. So I think for me, the visibility, the journey to getting more visibility has
Uh,
evolved. Um,
oops. Okay. We
sorry.
lost you for a moment there, Sophia.
Oh my God. Okay. What was the last thing you heard from me?
um, I think we heard pretty much it. Just you just go back like three words back, three or
Okay.
four words back here.
So my journey in having more online visibility has evolved. So obviously in the initial stages, I was doing more environmental activism kind of visibility. I was talking more about environment because that was what I was doing. That was what I was researching, and that was what I was advocating. So my social media handle was the Green Bush. I only changed it to Social Hornbill like in the last year or so. So that changed. So I finally got comfortable in talking about the breaking silos, and I realized that that was part of what my story was, breaking the career discipline silos, going from policy to advocacy to business, and just my personal journey of like living in Singapore and Indonesia, studying in Australia, then getting married and going to Germany, and that was like major culture shock because no one there speaks English; they expect you to be speaking German, right? So, and all the people that I meet along the way, that really shaped my mind on why there's a need to break more silos. So yeah, that's how I came about to being more fervent in what I put out there online.
Yeah, so from what you have heard from all three ladies, it is very important to become visible online. So again, like when you want to push yourself out there, you want to get people to know you, it's so important for you to start talking about what you do. Because you cannot make this assumption at all that you're going to put a product in the world and it's an amazing product and then it's going to sell. It doesn't work that way. You got to talk about it. You got to tell the whole world that this exists. So all the stories that you've heard, these are real stories and these are real scenarios and situations about how visibilities actually lead to success. So those of you who are in this room who are still doubting about being more visible, I'm actually telling you that you should be more visible for you to see the success in your business. Okay, so yes, if you have questions, feel free to drop them inside the comments right below, or you can also drop them inside the chat if you are joining us here via Zoom. And we also know that in today's day and age, there are a lot of there's a lot of like words. I wouldn't say words. I would say there's a lot of doubts about running a business, whether it's in terms of the age or whether it's in terms of the location. And we covered it earlier today that assets, the skills, and all that do are all important. But in your honest opinion right now, would you have started it differently? Would you have started your business if you had maybe 5 more years in your life, or would you be where you were before when you begin your business?
Mm.
I
I would
think
start it even earlier, because I feel like the earlier I started, the more time I have to experiences, fail and try and error and succeed even more. I would have come back to my 26-year-old self. And this is exactly what I'm doing right now, like telling the next generation that you can start right now. And I'm here to provide you the tools, the mindsets, the equipments, everything so that you can start succeeding when you are just like 22 or 23. I have a client, she was born 1996. So like I think she's like 23 when she started working with me. Now she's 24. Already become a coach. Last week she signed 4 clients, having her first $1,000 payment for her own entire life. Never been able to earn that much money in any job before. And what was a moral in her story gave me that really like the meaning of you can start even younger, and the younger you start, the more experiences you're going to accumulate it, the more bonus you have, and even faster pace for you to succeed. Because when like there is something about young people that they are so ambitious, they are so like wanted to make their mark and prove the world of their voices, really wanted to build that confidence because they know they are good, but they just haven't seen that proved. And they are so eager and willing to learn and to go everywhere they needed to, and they never give up. And I always say that the one who employ no excuses policy, like you see the vision, you know you need to have this money, you need to have this much client, you know you need this product to be sold at this point, then you're going to make everything work to make it happen. And that is, I think that is a formula for succeeding. Never give up. We'll be willing to fail and try and like rinse and repeat that process until you actually succeed. So I would just say like start even younger and start right now. And the younger, the more you start, like the younger you start, the more time you actually have to figure out what exactly you want to do.
Yeah, and I would
Okay.
say that helps in terms of the implications for your own personal life. If you're
Yeah.
gonna get someone,
Yeah.
who and if you're gonna get a partner, and if he's gonna be insecure and not happy with that his wife is out there doing stuff, then sorry, man. Because at the end of the day, you can't depend on a guy to be
To have a
providing for you
purposeful
all the
life.
time. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, you've got to provide for yourself first, and you've got to be sure of yourself and confident of yourself first before you get married. And I think that was when, especially when you're in the 20s, like everyone's getting married. Oh, there's the pressure to get married. And you get the older generation saying, oh, when are you going to get married? When are you going to get married? I mean, for those who have married early, great, alhamdulillah, that's awesome. And, you have a partner that believes in what you do and complements what you do. But for the rest of us who are still in that singlehood during the 20s, you're like, you get a lot of pressure and you feel like you have to sometimes just go with the pressure, but actually you got to focus on yourself. And I think that's what drove me to just do what I was doing, because I'm not going to have to depend on the guy. If the guy wants to be in my life, he's got to work with what he sees.
I love that
He knows what he's gonna
mindset.
he knows what he's getting into. So yeah.
I you know I love every single thing that you guys have mentioned today. And I think very importantly is that what you have mentioned here is an indication that we all need to take the step forward. I think that's nothing more than that. It's just you've got to take the step forward, have faith, and have belief in yourself to just move, the journey forward in your life. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's all that we ever need to do in our lives. Yes, so we do not want to like go on in every days in our life always thinking about what if and what could have become. Just go out there and spur the moment forth. Yeah. All right, so let's hear a little bit about the things that's coming up for all of you, like what's happening in your business and what's coming up. Is anything exciting that you guys have to share with all of us? Maybe we can go on first. Start off with Mai.
Cool. I actually, I think one of the things that I always wanted to share more and spread more is like the knowledge that you have the potential inside, and you don't have to work hard to get to succeeding. Because a lot of the young people saying that, oh my god, like I'm gonna work long hours and I still wanted to play, I still wanted to have fun. And I'm here to prove to you that working harder doesn't guarantee succeeding, but working smarter and working from your potential is actually going to bring you more achievements. And I am launching a 5-day spiritual alignment, okay, manifestation challenge. That is where I actually train women on the right mindset, aligned mindset, the tools, and how to really strengthening that vision and the core belief for you to manifest absolutely anything. Like, how can I be so certain on this? Because I have applied it and I have worked over on like 30 women who have worked with me privately and in my group coaching programs, have proven the results. Like one of the women during lockdown, COVID, and she was on a working visa in New Zealand. Like everyone would think that, oh, she had to go back home because her visa is finishing in like a month's time. And no, she signed up with coachings and I trained her and coached her about this manifestation thing. 2 weeks later, she moved into a new city. And one of the things that we got from the intuition nudge is like, go and ask for help. And she posted on the group, and 10 minutes afterwards, her now employee reached out to her, message her saying, we are offering this position. We are happy to sponsor you. We are paying you in full price, like full scheme, no scamming. And then she moved right to that place and having that sponsorship done in like a month's time. Another woman came to me and wanted to start like being in a TV show. And at that time, like she applied for MC host everywhere, and it doesn't happen until like one event they invited her in like a spiritual event, and she became the host for like 500 women. And the TV actually saw that and invited her into a TV show without any application, without any kind of like networking or anything. So opportunities happen and falling into your lap when you get aligned. So that is what I'm so passionate about sharing. It's coming up from 1st March to 5th March. And you can already sign up right now from my link in bio. It's called Spiritually Aligned.
Yay, amazing. So I know Raisha in the room has a question for any one of you, I believe. So how do you raise yourself back up again when you face a challenge? Maybe we can answer this first before we go on to talk about how the others can get in touch with, with Tammy as well as with Sophia.
You know, I actually had that challenge after I got married because, you know, you from single, free and single to married, intercultural marriage, move to a different country, you know, totally nobody, just the husband there, right? So that really was the low point for me. And that was just like 4 years ago, right?
Mhm.
And so I was like just in my own world, in my circle, in my own little cocoon for a while. But, you know, I got out of it by just trying to recall and recollect and be grateful for what I have so far. And it helped that my partner was also very supportive and always saying, you know, you should be, you know, think of all the good things we have and all that sort of thing. So, and then just replaying what I have been able to do before and just push myself to get back up. It took a while. But yeah, it's, I think the important thing is also don't be in the cocoon too long.
Mhm.
The communication with others is important. So yeah, it's communicating, letting it out. That helps.
Asking for help. The
Yeah,
asking for help is really,
yeah.
really important. If I were to be able to share with you something, is I face a lot of breakdown before I break through, and I have trained myself to have this mindset that a challenge or pain point is actually an opportunity for me to be awakened.
Mhm.
Um, every challenge that we face is the detour back to the right path that we are meant to take. And I want you to start receiving that challenge. In fact, in my 5 days, one of the days dedicated to receive, and because we always wanted to be happy and joyful to manifest, I'm here to prove otherwise. You have to start receiving your pain, understanding that challenge. What does it mean? Because a challenge is not for the universe to torture you or to punish you, but to help you awaken to the fact that you deserve so much more. I just want you to start writing one things down, that I'm grateful for this dot 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 to happen because. And when you write it down, don't just say it, because saying it doesn't gonna get you see the truth. you have to write it down. And I'm grateful for my husband to pick a fight with me because and it happening right now because maybe I need to learn more communication, or maybe I need to step right back to my feminine. Maybe there's something wrong with the way that I function in this relationship. I need to find out a better way to function before it got worse. Or maybe I'm grateful for this COVID to happen because now I appreciate more connections. I actually can go back internally and connect back to myself instead of like going out there and always going to the social events to fill up that empty space that I always ignore. So whatever you write down, you're gonna start seeing the gifts in your challenge, and you're gonna be able to start seeing how you can turn it around and use it to move forward.
Lovely. I really like both of your answers because I think it's important for us to, of course, like what Mai say, manifest what we want to believe in and also be grateful for the things that we have in our life. So mindset is critical. And like what Sophia has shared in her story, you just got to pick up yourself and, take the step forward, move to the next stage and not just keep on blaming about the situation. You just have to move forward. All right. So I hope those answers your question, Noraisha. Okay, and Tammy, do you have anything you want to add on to that?
Yeah, just very quickly. I think for me, so during the time where I really pushed through my career, like really took the step and the courage to go alone, was actually after a breakup. So it was a very long-term relationship and then broke up. And then that was when I actually found, oh, the confidence that I have now, maybe in working in my business and now having a boyfriend, or should I say fiance now?
Woohoo!
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, who actually we can, be there for each other, but not having to be dependent on one another, which was maybe where I was prior to pushing myself by being disconnected to something that I was dependent on, which was at that time my relationship. And then I would also have to add another note for me was I was an atheist prior, and I found that having a belief system, so that could be your spirituality, it could be your religion or anything, but for me, specifically, it was finding a religion really, really helped me push through things that before was an obstacle. Like before, for me, was like a wall. So looking at this particular problem, it was something that I could not get over. But having something that was bigger than yourself, whatever it may be, really, really helped me find hope in a situation where I really couldn't see hope before. So I think that would be my addition.
That's so nice that you are
Yeah.
engaged now. I'm so happy for you.
Yes, it happened a few days back, right?
Very few days ago.
Oh, congrats.
So we are all getting the fresh news.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, those are the amazing answers and responses that you have heard from Mai, from Tammy, as well as from Sophia. So we've heard just now that Mai has a spiritually aligned challenge happening. So right after this, I will actually share the IGTV version of the Instagram Live. I'll also leave the link for you to subscribe to that in the bio. Okay, so now let's hear from Tammy. What are some of the things that you're working on in your business, and how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Yeah. Well, because my work is a lot of it is remote. I'm a fashion commercial photographer. I'm also a portrait photographer. What I'm doing and still doing, what I was doing and I'm still doing now is I do virtual portraiture. So that's a portrait session through FaceTime. So it's a digital photo shoot. And it's a very interesting and unique experience. I think a lot of people really enjoyed it. A lot of people do engagement shoots, couple shoots, baby shoots, family shoots. Some brands do commercial shoot with me through FaceTime. So if that's something that would interest you, I do that. I think apart from that, a lot of it is very localized. It's just a lot of internal growing for the company and the studio. Like renovations in the studio, and then staff addition and things like that. But yeah, you can always try out virtual photo shoots if you're interested in that with me. So yeah.
All right. Yes. So I think it's fun if you want to try this out. I actually asked Tammy. I think I owe you one. I definitely want to do this. Yeah. I really want to see how it works out. And it's really quite interesting because Tammy has done this not just for people who are based in Indonesia. You can also participate and get involved in those portrait sessions, the quarantine portraits is what she calls it. Even when you are not based in Indonesia, you can do it. You can do it from wherever you are, virtually anywhere. So if you want to get in touch with Tammy, you can follow her on Instagram, Tammy Shoots, and I think your website as well. Let me know.
Yeah, so it's just my name. It's Tamara putri.com.
Okay.
And
So tamaraputri.com.
yes.
All right, great. So if you want to learn more about her services, you can go to tamaraputri.com. Okay, so Sophia, how what's happening or coming up in your business, and how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Yeah, so apart from okay, the business wise, I do a lot of thought leadership content creation. A lot of people are putting out a lot of content these days. I help people give the content more depth and more research depth because you can't have superficial content. You need to have something that's rigorous, that is backed by data, and I help customize it to people's experiences. That's on the company front. On the just the breaking silos part, I started the breaking silos with Sophia Jamil podcast. It's on YouTube, check it out. And and it's basically talking about the need to break silos, like whatever we've talked about now, breaking those career silos, those mental silos, the cultural silos. And I've also interviewed some people who have done that successfully. The last few interviews we had, an ambassador who became a barista. So he's doing coffee, he's doing it very well in
Wow.
Brunei. Is someone who's a journalist background doing tech in helping the Rohingya refugees in Malaysia. The last one we had Will from the US who had a really rough background, street lived on the streets, gangs and crime, but he's turned 180 degrees, and in fact I'm doing projects and business with him right now. So there's a lot of those kind of silo breaking stories I think need to be told. And in addition, I also add my own spin and thoughts on issues. And that's kind of like taking what I used to do in the academic world a level up. I'll be writing commentaries, writing op-eds, but here I'm actually doing it on YouTube. So yeah, happy for people to subscribe and keep in touch.
Yeah. So if you want to get in touch with Sophia, you can go to socialhornbill.com. Is that right?
Yeah, Social Hornbill on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
and Twitter and Facebook, or thesocialhornbill.com.
Okay, thesocialhornbill.com. And you can also subscribe to her YouTube podcast, which is Breaking Silo. So just search for that. And I also leave the link later on in the bio after you guys, after we go live, and then we convert this into an IGTV. Okay. So it's really interesting and amazing conversation that we have had with Mai, Tammy, as well as Sophia, and all these amazing women entrepreneurs. They are young. So if anyone tells you that you cannot succeed or you cannot run a business because you are young, tell them why not. And tell them where I'm going to definitely move forward. I'm not going to listen to you, and I'm going to do what I want for the betterment of the community and the earth. So this is exactly what we want to push out across to see and to show it to you guys that it is okay for you to become fearless, that it is okay for you to succeed in your business and in your life. So this is also the reason why we started this, the reason why we put all these amazing panelists together, is because this is the opportunity for us to launch Fearless Fempreneur Academy. We have worked so hard to make this happen, and Fearless Fempreneur Academy is finally live. So if you want to get your hands on and be part of the community, go on over to fempreneursecrets.com/fearless. Now only you get to access Fearless Fempreneur Academy for $35 per month. Really, really soon, I'm going to double this price because I believe so much in the value that we are giving. And the people who are already in the community have said so much good things because there's so much value to give. And being fearless, being visible is exactly what we want to see in the world. And all these women that you see today, they are fearless. They went out there to make a difference in their life, to create changes and to create impact in their life. So with that, thank you so much to the three of you for making your time and sharing your expertise with all of us. I'm pretty sure that even the women who are currently inside the Zoom, they value so much of the insights that they have gained from all three of you. So Thank you so much for your time. And for those of you who are in the Zoom room, you can stay on back. We will do a breakout session. If there's more people, we'll do a breakout session. If not, we will just do an open networking here and get to know every single one of you who are here. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. And we will catch you inside the next episode. Stay fearless.